I'm State Committee Woman Naima Silver. Hi friends, I'm State Committee Woman Naima Silver. I represent Washington Heights, Inwood, and Marble Hill. Today's video is a quick introduction to budgeting skills. So have you ever wondered how do you budget your money? Like, what are some good ways to budget your money? If that's a question that you've had, well, I hope that this video will be helpful in 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 figuring that out. All right. Hopefully, this can provide the guidance that you've been looking for. I'm making this video because a few people that know me and know that I'm really great at budgeting, that personally I have great budgeting skills, have asked me to provide them with guidance on how to budget. And as I spoke to different people in my community, I realized that it was a need that a lot of other people had. They wanted to understand how to budget their money. So that's the purpose for this video. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's helpful. So let's get to it. The first thing you need to keep in mind when it comes to budgeting is that you need to have a very clear, bigger picture. You need to have a vision, a bigger picture, or a goal of what it is that you would like to accomplish with your money. Okay? So what does that mean? That means that you need to know what you want, or you need to know what you desire. Again, Naima, what does that mean? What that means is, do you want to budget your money because down the road you would like to get your own place, maybe your own apartment or your own home? Or do you want to budget your money better just so that you know where your money is going? Because it seems like whenever you get money, it just goes straight out the door. As soon as you get it, it's gone, right? And you want to understand what's going on and how can you stop that. Do you want to budget your money so that you can have more savings? Do you want to budget your money so that you can get a car down the road? Do you want to budget your money so that you know how to incorporate some more vacations during the year? So there are different reasons for it. Do you want to budget your money just because it's kind of driving you crazy, that you feel like you could barely make ends meet and you're rushing and crushing on a monthly basis just to try to meet the basics, and you are stressing yourself out and kind of wearing yourself out because you realize and you admit to yourself that maybe you don't really know how to manage your money? So if that's the case, again, I hope that this video is helpful. So number one, like I said, the most important thing is to know what is your bigger picture. What is the goal right now that you have for budgeting your money? So also, it could be, if you're a high school student, SYP, which I know has been canceled for the summer, and we're fighting to figure something out to bring it back. But it could also be that you would like to contribute to your family, right? Maybe your parents need help paying rent or putting food on the table. You want to be able to support your family, and at the same time, you want to be able to support your dreams and your goals personally, things that you would like to do. And so you realize that it is important to be organized with your money. So once again, number one thing is to know, the first step is to know what is the bigger picture for managing your money. What is it that you would like to accomplish? What is the goal, or what are the goals? Because you can have more than one. What are the goals that you are working towards? Okay? Maybe you want to save for multiple reasons. Maybe at some point you want to, join a class and it costs $100 a month, but right now you don't have that, but you want to start saving up so that you have a cushion to cover a whole year's worth, $1,200 to pay off that class on a monthly basis, right? You also want to, like I said, you want to travel, or whatever it is that you would like to do, and you know that you need to budget your money in order to get to that goal that you have established. So once again, number one, bigger picture, clear goal, clear goals, clear vision of what it is that you want to accomplish with your money. So you need to write that down. Write it down, what that vision is, what those goals are, or what that bigger picture is. Okay? Number two, you have to understand. Let me change the you have to, even though that's what it is. We have to, right? So when it comes to budgeting, we need to understand the difference between needs versus wants. Another way to look at it, needs versus wants, is what are your fixed expenses versus your variable expenses. Naima, what does that mean? Fixed expenses are the, let's say, monthly bills or monthly expenses or monthly items that happen consistently every month. So, Naima, what does that mean? So, fixed expenses are things like your rent, utilities, your phone bill, the transportation, whether you take, the metro, whether you take the metro card, you use the metro card, or whether you drive. That's a fixed expense, whether it's the gasoline or whether it's the metro card, right? What else? You also have food. Maybe you have credit card bills or some other type of debt that you're managing that you have to make monthly payments on. Those are fixed expenses, right? They're going to happen every month no matter what if you're in this situation that you're in, right? Then you have your variable expenses, which are more along the things that you want or the things that are out of your control that you could not plan because life is life. So a variable expense could be something like, someone went to the hospital and insurance doesn't cover a specific surgery or procedure that was done, and so now you have a medical bill that came out of nowhere. That was nobody's fault, and no one could control that, right? That's a variable expense. It's not going to be monthly ongoing. It's just temporarily something that you need to take care of. Another variable expense could simply be that you want a new pair of shoes or a new pair of sneakers, or you want a new outfit, or you want a new watch, right? It's something that you want because it'll make you feel good for whatever reason, or it'll make you feel good about whatever, or you want it because of how other people are going to see you for it. It's cool. We're human beings. It happens. We do that sometimes, right? So that's a variable expense. Variable expenses also include things like, hey, today I don't want to cook my own food and I want to order takeout, or I want to go to a nice restaurant, or I want to just go to Dictor Pharmacy and get some ice cream. For those of you that are from Uptown, you already know where that's at, 207 and Broadway. It's a pharmacy and it's also like a little ice cream shop and all that. The sun is trying to get away from me, but I won't let it. So let's continue. So that was step number 2, understanding the difference between your needs versus your wants. Step number 3, and make sure that you write it down. Make sure you write out what are those needs on a monthly basis and what are those wants. What are those fixed expenses and what are those variable expenses? Write it down. How much are you required to pay per month to cover your living arrangement, whether it's a bedroom, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a house mortgage, whatever it is? How much is that? How much is your phone bill? How much is Con Edison? How much is your, Hulu or Netflix that you have? Even though that wouldn't be fixed, that would be here, but we'll talk about that later. How much does it cost your Metro card? Is it a monthly? Is it a weekly Metro card? Or gasoline for your car? If you have to pay insurance for your car, whatever are those fixed expenses, write them down, right? Your variables. What are potential variables that you want to include every now and then? You want to mix them in there to include in your budget. Now, variables could also be the goals. That could be some goals that you have that you would like to accomplish financially that you want to include in your budget because you want to meet those goals by a certain time. I'll get into that a little bit later. The sun keeps trying to move, so give me 1 second. Let's move down a little bit more. Okay, I guess I'm missing the sun. Alright, so I believe that was step number 3. So let's go to step number 4. Step number 4 is a challenge. I'm going to challenge you to think about savings as a fixed expense. Think about savings as needs. I want you to put it on this category, not here. It's not a variable. It must be fixed. Your savings must be a fixed line item on your budget. Okay? And now some of you may be saying, well, with all the bills that I have to pay and all the things that I have to do, I don't have enough money to save. All you need to do is just switch the way you look at it. There's a book, right, called The Richest Man in Babylon. But there's also the Bible. The Bible talks about savings. But there's also, let me not say that, because we don't always know things. Sometimes we need to learn from others. But here's the challenge, right? Look at savings as a fixed expense. So when you're creating that budget of your monthly expenses, which includes your rent, your utilities, your phone bill, your transportation, food, credit card payments, managing debt, these different things that you're including on the fixed expenses side, you need to include savings there. A minimum of 10% of your savings has to be there. So the way that you would actually start your budget would look like this. This is where I would insert the little thing with the video and actually write it down, okay? So an example of your fixed expenses budget would look something like this. You would start with 10% towards savings, and then you do whatever else you need to do with your budget. So you start with 10% savings, and then you put what you need to pay for your rent on a monthly basis, for your food, for your transportation, for utilities, for your cell phone, for credit cards, for this, for that, right? Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, then you can approach it in a different way, which would be to put all your fixed expenses first, and then you put savings as the bottom part of your fixed expense. The only thing with that is that we need to work with our own psychology, and we need to start training ourselves differently when it comes to money. And so if you put the savings as your number one on your budget, as the number one priority on your budget, that's the value that you're placing on savings, as opposed to leaving it towards the end. It means that you don't really value it as much. And then when it comes to all these other things, all these other expenses, you're going to have to also prioritize them, right? So I just want to challenge you to look at savings as a need, a necessity. And I shared with you why earlier, right? Yes, I did. I gave you the example of medical expenses that can come up as a variable expense. And if you have a savings cushion, and you'll be able to use that to pay off the things that pop up in your life that were out of your control, that weren't your fault, right? So yeah. Now, the last step savings. Oh, the challenge, got it.